when you said personalization, right? I think what I wanted to highlight again, whether we call it the 4 Cs or the 4 Ps, I think what's important is to understand that in today's day and age, technology has commoditized a lot of things, right? So today, every business can reach its customer, so much so that even production or product towards a level has gotten quite commoditized, right? Today, you have OEM factories that can build cosmetic products and private label it for anyone who wants to build a brand. I think really what the differentiation is in terms of personalization is understanding what is that unique differentiation and to who are you serving that unique differentiation. What is that core group of community or that early adopters of your product and service, right? I'll tell you a few examples in our brands, and you will see that there is a lot of cult brands that then become what we call as cult mass brands, right? So examples, if you're in apparel, start with and learning your audience. And I'm giving you some specifics because it's important for our audience to have that as a takeaway and then implement in their business. Where if you're an apparel brand, look, are you a streetwear brand? Are you a fast fashion brand, right? Are you catering to a growing street culture or skateboarding culture in India, right? Are you servicing for that? Go down to that specific and start from there, because once you get your early adopters, you design your product for them, you personalize your product for that community, and then can you build on top of that uniqueness for yourself, right? That's where even your messaging, right? I think Bhaskar talked about ROS or ROI. I think it's becoming important because today, not only emerging brands, but what we've seen is that traditional incumbent large brands, right? And FMCG brands are also now spending on digital media, unlike traditional media. And so now everybody's fighting for that same ad space or spending a lot more premium. So of course, for a young brand, if you are trying to cut across and spend for everyone and solve for everyone, you're going to be lost, because you can never compete with the big boys unless you have a very, very clear, differentiated segment product that you're spending towards. Your ROAS matrix will always be skewed. So absolutely, again, try to make sure that you're not only your product design, but what your product is speaking to in terms of content positioning, in terms of the community you're following. And then don't shy away by backing that fully and accelerating your growth with all forms of capital. And here is where, over the last decade, and I Bhaskar has been around as an entrepreneur, we can all validate, talk about 10 years ago in India, we had access to only 5-10 VC funds, a few angel investors. Now this is the time where there's not only so much more capital and equity capital available for businesses, but also there are alternative forms and other forms of capital available for businesses to now fuel that growth and accelerate in the spaces that they are really doing well, right? So you have to get your strategy right and then absolutely back yourself 100%. Otherwise, there are many players wanting to enter and join that space. Just to give you I was talking to a founder the other day, and Kaushik, you can kind of dovetail and share that in the space or in apparels and clothing, there are so many brands, but in personal care, there are 50,000 brands registered and operating in India right now. So we can say that, hey, there is a lot of clutter, but the India opportunity is still large, where a lot of brands have not even reached the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And logistics is solving for that. But you have to really, really understand your niche and positioning and then back yourself 100% with all forms of capital to scale quickly enough.